We can all have our fears, and with genuine people, they don't want to make other people feel our own fears because we know what it feels like and we care about the other person. With a narcissistic individual, they often fail to recognise their own fears. Instead, they just go all out to project these onto their victims. Projection is a psychological defense mechanism where a narcissistic individual will attribute their own feelings, their own thoughts, their own behaviours onto someone else. Instead of acknowledging their own, they go all out, for example, of accusing someone of being a liar when they themselves are the liar. When they are angry, they'll accuse somebody else of being hostile. And they will do this with their fears, with their insecurities. Narcissists often go all out to project their deepest fears onto their victims, manipulating them into experiencing the very insecurities and anxieties that the narcissist works so hard to avoid. By doing this, the narcissist gets to maintain control and deflect attention away from their own vulnerabilities by placing them on another person. Narcissistic individuals tend to fear rejection, and rejection isn't pleasant for anyone. However, most people can walk away from a situation and at some point reflect and work what they could do differently. With a narcissistic individual, they will create a dynamic where their victims are constantly fearing being rejected. They do this by withholding affection, giving silent treatments, or suddenly devaluing their victims out of nowhere. And this leaves victims walking on eggshells, desperate to regain the narcissist's approval. However, if you fall silent on a narcissist, if you don't bow down to them and give them enough attention, they feel rejection and they go all out to punish you. Narcissistic individuals tend to fear exposure. However, to avoid their own fear of being exposed, narcissists will accuse their victims of being flawed, dishonest, untrustworthy, cheaters, crazy. They gaslight and twist reality to make their victim and those around the victim. They make their victim doubt their own integrity, and they make those around the victim doubt the victim's integrity, while the narcissist goes all out to deflect scrutiny over their own behaviour. So they will cheat, yet they will claim that it's because their ex was crazy. They'll fail to show up for their children, yet they'll claim it's because their ex won't allow them to see the children. They'll fail to pay for their children, but they'll claim that it's because the ex spends the money all on themselves, even though the ex is the one providing for their children. Narcissistic individuals also fear losing control. So they will instill this fear into their victims by micromanaging their victims' lives, isolating their victim from any support system, creating dependency. Therefore, victims often feel powerless and afraid to make decisions without the narcissist's input. Narcissistic individuals often fear failure. They are terrified of failure. They want to be perceived as perfect. So they will project this fear by constantly criticising their victims' efforts and achievements, not only making their victims work harder, but giving their victims that sort of imposter syndrome where they never feel that they're enough even when they have done something right. Narcissists set impossible standards and sabotage success, leaving victims feeling incompetent and afraid of trying. Narcissistic individuals also fear being alone. Narcissists dread that loneliness, which is why they seek that constant source of supply. So they will go all out to impress strangers in order to gain that attention rather than work on a relationship with a family member. They go all out to isolate their victims, to make their victims feel like they are alone. By cutting off the victim's relationships with their friends and family, the narcissist creates a sense of abandonment and dependency, ensuring that the victim feels trapped and alone. By the narcissist projecting their fears onto their victims. Narcissists maintain the power while avoiding accountability for their own insecurities. Recognizing this projection is key to breaking free from their control.